Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, we have with us a very special guest, and his name is Kenneth Bator. Kenneth is the founder of Bator Training and Consulting Incorporated. He has more than 15 years of experience in helping organizations create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. As a facilitator for training and strategic planning sessions and an expert in brand concept, culture building, and management, Ken has helped hundreds of organizations since 2001. In addition to his career of working with managers and entrepreneurs, he has also served as an executive of 3 different institutions throughout the United States and has assisted many small to medium-sized businesses to reach new levels of effectiveness. Ken is the author of The Formula for Business Success B+C+S, The Pocket Guide to Strategic Planning, The 90-Day Quick Fix for the Business Owner or Manager, and the Strategic Planning Workbook and Guide for Financial Institutions. His articles have appeared in many trade publications including the Credit Union Journal, Lifestyle Entrepreneur, CU Business Magazine, and ABA Bank Marketing. Born and raised in Chicago, he earned a Bachelor of Science in Finance and an MBA in Entrepreneurship from DePaul University, as well as a certificate in Integrated Marketing from the University of Chicago. So, without further delay, welcome, Ken.
Thank you so much. That was a mouthful. I actually sound important there.
Yes, you are. So, Ken, before we actually start to get into the real content of the podcast, we always like to give our guests an opportunity to share a little bit about themselves and about their journey. You know, how it is that you got to where you are today, and are there any founding principles that helped you along that way that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. As probably many of your listeners can identify with, my journey started with basically getting let go of an executive job. I was vice president of marketing and business development for a $4 billion financial institution in the Chicagoland area, and with a change in executive management came a change in a lot of positions, and mine was one of the first ones. But you decided that instead of going back into corporate life to do what I really, really loved and enjoyed, which is teaching and public speaking and writing and working one-on-one with a lot of different entrepreneurs and business owners, and have loved every minute of it. So in a sense, the founding principle that I kind of live by, as well as mentor many college students on, is really find out what you love, do what you love, and find a way to make a living at that. Otherwise, it's going to be a real uphill climb. I honestly didn't realize, how unhappy I was in the executive job until somebody did me a favor and let me go.
That's true. Many persons aren't. They work in companies and they have these wonderful positions, and they don't realize what they really want until there's a spoke that's thrown into the whole mix of things, and then they're like, aha, I could have been doing something else all along, something that I really enjoy.
Exactly.
Now, how do you, as a management expert, working with these different organizations, how do you feel about customer service or customer experience on a global level?
Well, customer experience and customer service to me are 2 different things. Customer service is part of the customer experience. You could have customer service and it could be poor service for that matter, which means that you're, in essence, providing no experience or a very poor experience. So a lot of what I teach centers on that experience itself. And I believe it first starts with creating an experience for your employees. I think that it's very, very difficult to have a positive interaction with your customers if you don't have employees that really, truly want to be there.
True. So basically, you believe that the customer experience is different. And I do agree with you. Customer experience is a completely different thing because the experience forms everything that they go through, every channel that they are engaging with your business. And then also, it's even before they come in to work with you. So a lot of customers are very informed before they come to do your business. They with the onset of the internet, they can do their own research. They can look for information on their own, and so they're 60 to 75% informed about what your business offers before they even have an interaction with you or your employees.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The example that I usually use, and I use one from my banking days, is that customer service is, okay, we're going to handle the customer's transaction properly and efficiently, maybe even wish him a nice day and shuffle him or her out of our bank. A customer experience is, all right, when we have a line at the teller line, we're going to have somebody come by and offer them water and coffee. We're going to ask them if there is something that we might be able to do for them in an office. We might ask them, what was your transaction today and what were you trying to accomplish? Maybe there's another way that we can help you. That's an experience. That's how do we create a positive environment for our customer rather than just putting them in a line and giving them service and taking care of a transaction.
True. Very true. So let's talk a little bit about your book, The Formula for Business Success equals B+C+S. So B is the brand, C is the culture, and S is the strategy. Why do you believe that all of these three things need to be cohesively aligned in order for a business to, reap success in the true word of success, not just from a financial perspective, but, have a healthy business overall?
Right. Well, that was part of my journey as well. Around the time that I was let go in 2001, I started to really delve into a number of different books. And even before I was let go when I was an executive, I tried to be a sponge and really understand all of the nuances of business to take things to the next level. So I'd read a book on re-engineering, and I'd go to a seminar on empowerment, and I would go to listen to a tape on Six Sigma, and I would always think, well, how do we put all of this together? How do you apply this, but not just tactically, but apply it where it's in alignment with everything? And slowly but surely, I came up with this brand culture strategy concept. In that, all right, we need to know what is the image we want to create out in the public. We need to know what experience we need to create both for and through our employees, and we need to know how to drive more of the right business to our business. Brand, culture, and strategy. And what I found is that was developing in my mind is I would do work in one area for a client. For instance, one client would call me and ask me to do a strategic plan for them. And we would do a very in-depth written plan, but nothing would get executed because their culture, the people, weren't passionate and wouldn't support it. So the culture was an issue there. Or somebody would hire me to help them with marketing and build a brand message, and we would do an awesome job of that, and we would drive more of the right people to their business with that brand and that strategy, but maybe the culture wouldn't provide, to go back to the main point in your show, the customer experience. That culture won't provide wouldn't provide the customer experience that was proper, and therefore everything falls apart. And the last example I'll give, the same thing goes when you have a great culture where you have a team that's really engaged and want to work, and you have a strategy that makes sense in terms of having the right profit margins and the right product. But if you're not getting your brand message out there properly, you're like the best kept secret. You're not getting the people there to work with your business. So if the B or the C or the S isn't quite right, then your formula is not going to yield the success that your business should have.
True. That's so true. So profound. Amazing. In your experience, as it relates to the brand, the culture, and the strategy, what role do you think leadership plays in all of this?
Oh, huge. It's leadership and management are such different things. I'm a big fan of the late Dr. Stephen Covey's work, and he talked a lot about that, whether it was in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or the 8th Habit or any of his other books. Management is about moving around things and categorizing items, but leadership is truly working with people, which is a much tougher job, frankly. So, from a brand, culture, and strategy standpoint, it really does start with the leader, somebody that understands that, we can't have a positive customer experience without first having a positive employee experience, and we can't gain profit from a positive customer experience unless we have the right brand messaging to drive more of those people to our experience. Mm-hmm. And also from a strategy standpoint, you need a leader that understands that you need to not only just have goals, but to have all the tactics and objectives aligned where people understand and can continue to move the organization forward. So leadership is key. Without the right leadership, and I've seen it unfortunately too many times, even with a great team and a great passionate staff, it's very, very difficult to have a successful business.
Okay. What would be 3 characteristics you believe a leader should definitely have in order to be successful in these 3 areas of brand, culture, and strategy?
Well, number one is self-awareness. I think, and I can speak for myself, I have a very big ego and I'm a type A personality, mm-hmm. But being able to step back, and even being able to say, I screwed that one up. I actually do need to go back to my staff and have a little egg on my face and say, you know what, that one's on me, guys. I messed up. And maybe I took it out on you as my employee or my staff or my right-hand person. Number one, I apologize. Number 2, we're going to do things differently. And number 3, if you see me do that again, then call me on it. So self-awareness is number 1. Number 2 is engagement, which also I guess you can call involvement. I see a lot of leaders that even have good intentions, but they want to do everything themselves. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of the resources that you have. You'd be surprised at the things that your staff can do. Even if you're running a little mom and pop grocery store, for that matter. Talk to the part-time cashier. Ask him or her, hey, what do you think we could do to drive more business to our store? And you'd be surprised. You get some great ideas, and I could give you a story on that later if we have time. Mm-hmm. And the last is being able to take an airplane view. Mm-hmm. I think that in in businesses, and I'm certainly guilty of this. This is why literally I have a consultant for my business, because I'm too close to it, even though I can consult with other people's businesses. But take an airplane view and be able to see how everything is working from above. We get so busy in the tactical. We get so busy in the day-to-day, and then, well, I have to do the books today. Oh, I've got to do the inventory today. I've got to do employee reviews today, whatever it is, and you're bouncing around from one task to the other. The ability to take at least 15 minutes a day from an airplane view and look down is not only really critical, but also provides some really valuable perspective.
I love it. So the three characteristics you recommend is self-awareness, engagement, and take an aerial view of your business at least 15 to 20 minutes every day.
Absolutely.
Great. Good stuff. All right. So it's so important. I strongly believe in everything that you've said before as it relates to customer experience and understanding your business and ensuring that leadership is on board, and your brand and your culture and the strategy need to be cohesively aligned at all times in order to create that great amount of success. Now, if you were a business owner, if you got a client, for example, Ken, that they were in the brick and mortar space and they're looking to migrate to the online space, what are some important considerations that they would need to take into account to be successful?
It's interesting because I have a client that's doing something similar to that right now. They're not getting rid of their brick and mortar, but they do want to engage with their customers online. Mm-hmm. And one of the struggles that they have is they do have such a great culture, and they do such a great job of engaging with their customer when they walk through the door. How do we transfer that into online? And what we're working on, which to answer your question, is to answer our question of what does a personal engagement look like online for our customer. In fact, sometimes it's just a matter of asking, what do you want, Mr. Customer, especially if you have a long-time client that you've been working with for a long time. What does online business with us look like? What is comfortable to you? So, for instance, this client is actually looking at ways through their app to actually say, hello, Yannick, or good morning, Yannick, and to make that online a little bit more personable. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the big question to ask is how can I create a customer experience online that is going to be aligned with how I work with customers today. That's not the end all be all silver bullet, of course, but I think if you start by asking those questions, then you're automatically on the right track.
Amazing. Great stuff. Now, what advice would you give an employee or a business owner in a business about sustaining a service culture? So let's say maybe there is a new acquisition of new employees that come in with a different kind of mindset, or possibly the company has decided to take on a different arm, so they have bought out another organization that's now merging with their existing culture. What are, maybe what's one or two tips that you would recommend them to ensure that they sustain the service culture they already have existing?
I love that question, and I get that question all the time. Usually it comes in the form of I don't have time to read your book or watch your videos or read all your articles. Can you give me just one thing? And the answer I almost always give is, if you're going to do just one thing, implement service standards. And don't just implement service standards from the ground up. And what I suggest is get everybody on your front lines, get everybody that works with customers most often, especially in the case, and I've seen this as well, a company does merge with another organization. And now all of a sudden they have 5 or 6 people that are brand new coming from a completely different environment. Okay, what do we do with these folks?
Right.
Well, if you already If you already have service standards, then I suggest getting everybody in a room and saying, all right, we're a new team or we're a new family now. These are the service standards we have. Let's discuss, if we need to make any changes, additions, or take even some of these off of here. For instance, if we have a service standard that we're going to answer the phone within 3 rings, if we have an operational reason why we can't adhere to that, then darn it, we better take it off or change it and make it 5 rings or change it to something else because it's written down. It's a promise. And if you don't have service standards, then it's an even better opportunity is to get everybody involved and just simply do an exercise and say, all right, what does service mean to you? What does service look like here? What should service look like? And I've done those types of exercises dozens and dozens of times, and every time I do that, we always get some amazing feedback. Now, sometimes we get some goofy stuff, which is, get more sleep. That's not a service standard. But sometimes we get some really interesting things, which is, we should be able to resolve most problems within 72 hours. And we usually do. Why don't we actually make that a standard and put it in writing that we will resolve all problems within 72 hours. And if we can't, we will call the customer or client within 72 hours to give them an update and let them know what we're doing and what's in line for them. Mm-hmm. But when you do that and you create the service standards from the ground up and you get people involved, then there's instant buy-in. Now there are service standards. They're my service standards. They're not yet just one more thing that's being pushed down from management saying, here are your service standards that you need to adhere to every day. No, we were all involved in this. And if you're bringing new people on, that's a great opportunity to either create them or to take a new look at the service standards so that you can create that buy-in and get everybody involved right from the start.
That's a good point. That's excellent. So you definitely need buy-in. It needs to have a level of inclusivity that people feel like they're a part of the process, because then they're more willing to adhere and to actually own the issue. As you said, they don't feel like it's information being handed down to them that they have to comply with. And it just makes the environment that much easier for you to work with, because the team members feel like it's their business. And it really is their business. I mean, you spend 90% of your time at work.
Yep, absolutely. And I've even seen in some circumstances where if you've done this properly in terms of creating the service standards, that there's even self-management among the team, where one frontline worker will tell another frontline worker, "Hey, that's not how we do things here." Right. It actually begins to take some of the onus off the leader to continually be that person that cracks a whip. It actually makes things in the best of circumstances run smoother without your involvement as a leader.
So true, so true. And that's how you're really leading, right?
Exactly.
Amazing.
When you can leave for days and the place runs just as well or better than when you're there, then you know you've done something right.
Amazing. That's so true. Now, Ken, how do you stay motivated every day?
Excuse me. You got me all choked up on that one. I don't think I'm any different than other people. Some days motivation comes easy, and in other days it doesn't. I think motivation for me is that I love what I do, and I'm really, really passionate about this brand culture and strategy alignment concept. Mm-hmm. on the days that I'm not motivated, sometimes, you just have to acknowledge it. I think that as entrepreneurs, executives, business owners, a lot of times we just want to push through things, and that's not necessarily bad, but sometimes we need to acknowledge that, hey, I'm a little off today. I'm not as motivated. I'm not as focused. I'm not, necessarily doing backflips over what I need to do today. And just acknowledging that leads you to a question in your mind of, well, what do I need? Well, maybe I need to go out for a run, or maybe I need to have one more cup of coffee, or maybe I just need to take a walk around the block. Or sometimes, which I'll do is, if the task just isn't coming to me, let's switch to another task. Maybe instead of working on this client strategic plan, for instance, let's put that off until this afternoon, and let's work on a video this morning. Let's work on another project, because sometimes that gets your mind going to where you're a little bit more motivated in the day.
True, that's true. Switch it up.
Exactly.
Can you share with us what's the one online resource, tool, website, or app that you absolutely cannot live without in your business?
LinkedIn. If they took away Facebook and Instagram and every other app that I have, it only left me with one. I would say LinkedIn is my best resource. It's my best resource for information. I read a lot of articles from other thought leaders on LinkedIn. I always find really, really good education on there. I obviously connect with a number of people. There are some clients, frankly, that I just LinkedIn message, and we don't even email because they're on that app. So I would say LinkedIn is the number one. Great.
All right. Can you also share with us what are some of the books that have had the biggest impact on you?
Well, Stephen Covey's work had a huge impact on me, especially when I read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in the early 2000s. That was probably number one. But two others that I've read recently that I've been recommending a lot. One is also kind of an oldie but goodie. That's The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which I'm sure a number of your listeners have heard. That's a really good. It's a really good book on putting together systems and processes, which we need in every business, and not taking away what I would say not taking away the people aspect.
Right.
And another one that I read about a year ago that I really, really liked was All In Startup by Diana Kander. Last name is with a K. It's Kander. And it's kind of a somewhat fictional narrative about an entrepreneur who's struggling. But it makes it really, really fun to read because it is a story. But there's a tip with each of the chapters, which is really, really interesting.
Very good. All right. So we'll definitely include all of the books that Ken mentioned in the notes of this episode. So you can stay tuned to the links for those so that you can connect with those through Amazon to get up on your reading. Amazing. All right. So Ken, we are on the last lap of this interview. One of the things we love to ask our guests is, if it is that you were faced with a business owner who says that, I believe I have great products and services, but I think I constantly lack motivated human capital. If that person was sitting across the table from you right at this very moment, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them to have a successful business?
If are you saying that he or she, the owner, doesn't have motivated capital?
Right, human capital. So the people are not constantly motivated.
Well, the one thing that I would say is what's the feedback from your people? If you truly feel they're not motivated, then you have to ask. Sometimes we think that it's rocket science when it isn't.
Right.
Sometimes literally it's just a matter of getting people in the room and asking them really leading questions with the sincerity to listen.
Right.
What do you think is going on here? How do you think that we could take our business to the next level? Sometimes that question is a great one because you have some people that have some burning ideas in them, but they're afraid to say it. And if you're not getting the answers by simply asking them face to face, then you need to try another way. Maybe it's an anonymous survey, or you bring in an expert to do focus groups or something like that, because you need to get that feedback. You need to get to the why. If you're not seeing the motivated human capital out there amongst your team, then you have to get to the why.
The root cause.
Is it because Exactly. Is it because of the salaries? Is it because of the working conditions? Is it because of possibly one bad apple on the team that may be a supervisor that is not doing the job properly? You can't solve the problem until you get to the why. So you have to ask the questions.
Love it. All right. Now, Ken, can you share with us what's the one thing that's going on in your life right now that you are really excited about? Either something that you are working on to develop yourself or your people?
Oh, the thing that I'm really excited about right now is I'm in the process of putting together a couple of online classes based on the brand culture strategy concept that I put together. I've been wanting to do that for a long time because there are people that enjoy the book, and there are people that enjoy seeing me speak or hearing me speak and so forth. But there are some folks that want to learn but don't necessarily want to hire me as a consultant, and I understand that. So I'm excited about giving them an option of an online class where they can take that at their leisure and work the brand culture strategy concept through their unique business.
Amazing. So when is that program expected to launch?
Well, my hope is that we'll have it out this summer. That might be a little aggressive, but now that I've actually put that out there and people will hold me accountable, then it'll probably be more likely to actually come out this summer.
Okay, all right. So the summer of 2017.
Exactly.
Great. Now, can you tell our listeners where they can find you online? So they were pumped up about this interview. They loved everything that you said, and they're thinking, I want to listen to this guy some more. I want to follow him. I want to get to know him. And maybe in the future, I think I'm going to take his program that he's coming out with, or I'm going to even bring him into my organization. How can they connect with you online?
The best ways are either just simply to go to my website, which is www.btcinc.net. Again, that's btcinc.net. And there's all types of resources there. You can click on my LinkedIn link, you can click on my Twitter, you can click on my Facebook and connect with me there. And there's also on my website, there's a page that says just simply weekly content. So all of my video shows, all of my podcasts, all of my articles, most of my articles are right there on that tab. So they can get some instant education right from that site alone.
Great. Amazing. So that's www.btcinc.net.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Now, before we wrap the show up, we always like to ask our guest, what is one quote or saying that you may revert to or use during times of adversity? So if you're faced with a challenge, or, it's just one of those days that you're kind of off, and this quote or saying kind of helps to reignite you, helps you get more centered, and you're able to push forward. Do you have one of those?
I do, and it's probably one many people have heard before. It's Einstein's definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So that kind of pops into my head is kind of like a cartoon clown jumping out of a clown car sometimes, right. where it actually a voice comes and says, okay, are we just simply doing the same thing and expecting a different result, or do we need to change at least a little bit what we're doing today in order to actually move forward?
Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ken, for taking your time today out of your busy day to share with us on this wonderful podcast, Navigating the Customer Experience. I'm sure all of our listeners got many different nuggets and tips that they can infuse into their existing businesses. And I'm sure they're going to run on over to your website and try to find greater opportunities to connect with you. So we just want to give you the warmest gratitude for taking the time to share with us today.
Yannick, thank you so much for having me, and the pleasure was all mine.
Amazing. So we just want to remind our listeners that they can connect with us in our private Facebook group. It's Navigating the Customer Experience Community. And you can also connect with us on Twitter at NavigatingCX. So thanks again. I'm your host, Yannick Grant. We really appreciate your support of this podcast. Are you ready to grow your business even more, or improve your leadership skills, or train your team members in the art of customer service? Give us a call at 305-848-0815 or visit our website at www.yannickgrant.com. That's YANIQUEGRANT.com. Remember, 305-848-0815 or visit our website at yannickgrant.com. Our new online course, Mastering Customer Experience and Increasing Your Revenue, is now available. The link for this will be on the show notes of each episode starting September 7, 2016. The first 2 modules are free. So hop on over, have a look, and take the steps to increase your revenue.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.